New, fresh, exciting. That's what I want. The time is now.
They have no idea what's going to happen.
Do you profess your belief? Now we talk.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So HBO dropped another spring teaser with a little bit of Game of Thrones footage. So let's talk about Jaime Lannister, and Dan and Dave revealed something about what's going on with Bran's storyline. So I'll talk about that too. So just careful for spoilers from Book 4. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Jaime and the Siege of Riverrun, and most of the stuff that Dan and Dave said about Bran's character is just a logical extension of his story. So I guess you could say spoiler warning for everything that has happened to Bran so far too. So let's talk about the army of flowers in the background there. Those are Tyrell shields marching in the background. So either a Tyrell army marches its way into King's Landing to defend Margaery and Loras during the trial of the faith, or this is in another place and Jaime has gone all the way to Highgarden, because it mostly seems like Jaime's going to be going to Riverrun this year. He could also go to Highgarden, but I'm thinking that this is still in King's Landing, so it might be from earlier in the season, because they still have to address the trial of the faith. Now, when the High Sparrow was trying to get the confession out of Cersei, he said that Margaery and Loras would be looked upon favorably because they confessed their sins. But he didn't say they were off scot-free, he just said that they would be looked upon favorably, meaning the whole context of that situation was that he really wanted to get Cersei. She was the big fish to fry. But in the lead up to the last couple of episodes, the Queen of Thorns was starting to freak out a little. Like, I will totally bring an army to King's Landing, cut off your grain supply if you don't help me out. No surprise, Cersei biting off a little bit more than she can handle. And now that Tywin is dead, there is no one left in King's Landing to challenge her, because Tommen will do whatever she says. She had that look on her face as Robert Strong picked her up and carried her off at the end like, I'm going to crush everyone. So probably no coincidence that the Tyrell army is marching into King's Landing, unless they are really in Highgarden. I don't think it's in Highgarden, but it's too hard to tell just from the shields marching in the background in the crowd. There have been rumors that the Blackfish and Edmure Tully are back, meaning that they would have to circle back around and do the Siege of Riverrun storyline from the book that they skipped. That was from Book 4, but the whole timeline of Book 4 has already been changed with respect to his storyline. Jaime doesn't find out about Cersei's trial with the faith. He doesn't find out that she gets thrown in prison till the end of Book 4. And he actually, when he gets the letter, he burns it. He does not go straight away to help. I know it seems kind of cold, but you have to keep in mind, in the books, the last time that they had the twincest, Jaime swore it off after their last time, was over Joffrey's dead body at the funeral. Probably one of the more controversial scenes from Season 4, and as you saw since then, Season 5 changed that a little. Jaime feels the emotional pull of Cersei a lot more than Book Jaime does at this point. So inside Jaime's head, we're way off book. So circling back around to the Siege of Riverrun, where you bring the Blackfish and Edmure back into the story. So what happens to Riverrun in the wake of the Red Wedding is the Blackfish escapes the Freys, goes back to Riverrun, and fortifies the castle, so that the Lannisters and the Freys both have to lay siege to it to try and get him out. Cersei and the Crown are trying to install the Freys as Lords of Riverrun, and it becomes this protracted battle that lasts for a long time. Just to give some credit to the dearly departed Stannis, the Siege of Riverrun doesn't last nearly as long as the Siege of Storm's End did during Robert's Rebellion. So Stannis way more hardcore than the Blackfish, even though the Blackfish is still a badass. But in the book, after Tywin's death, Cersei sends Jaime to Riverrun to dispatch the King's Justice to the Blackfish so that the Freys could get inside. So if Tywin's funeral was at the beginning of Season 5, you can see how much they've already changed Jaime's storyline. That's why you heard all the groans when Jaime went to Dorne. They're like, oh, he's going to Dorne, I can't believe it. What happened to Riverrun? But the good thing about them bringing the story back around and doing Siege of Riverrun, even if it's going to be a vastly different version of the storyline, is that you get to do Freys again, and the North remembers. Technically, Riverrun is not in the North, but they were bound to Robb Stark. Catelyn Stark was a Tully, so the Red Wedding is still an open wound in their mind. And I know it's always a point of contention as to where Jaime and Brienne's storyline is going, because Brienne's been in the North trying to help the Starks on the mission Jaime put her on, and Jaime has been stuck in Dorne trying and failing to save Myrcella. But if Jaime goes to Riverrun, he's that much closer, they could run into each other. I believe in the preview chapters that George R. R. Martin has released for Winds of Winter, Jaime and Brienne do have a meetup. So we may or may not get some more Jaime-Brienne scenes, but it depends on how far north Jaime goes. When Cersei sends him to end the Siege of Riverrun, he essentially spends the rest of his time just going around taking care of the remnants of Robb Stark's army. So he is just like touring around up in that area. Speaking of the TV show, Dan and Dave offered a little bit of an explainer on Bran's picture here with the short hair, why he's riding a horse. So if you missed the Bran video I did, I talk a little bit about how he's basically just stuck in that tree learning about the green sight from the Blood Raven. But in this picture for season 6, he's already left the tree, riding around on a horse. Dan and Dave have now explained that he is kind of like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. They actually use the Star Wars reference. They're like, at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker just shows up at Jabba's palace, full-blown Jedi. He's clearly been training a lot, but you don't know. Like, there's this big missing time frame that you don't know about, where he's gone away and come back with a lot more power. So that's kind of what's going on with Bran in season 6. Like, they make it sound like they're going to deal with his training, his green sight training, in flashback or like in a really quick way, so that he'll already be really powerful when we see him. So I know some of you will be really upset by that because you'll want to see a whole bunch of Weirwood flashbacks. I still think we'll get some, but it just seems like they're speeding through that Yoda training montage. Like, running through Dagobah, jumping, doing flips over stuff. Now, I don't want to imply that he's going to be the one to save Jon Snow. I know a lot of you have asked me that, like, if Jon Snow is resurrected, is Bran going to do it? I don't think that's the case, but I do think that he will be very important to the Wall when they try to fight the army of White Walkers. All Dan and Dave did was make that Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi analogy. Bran will already have great power in season 6, so make of that what you will. But congratulations to this week's giveaway winner. Anna C., you win a $20 Amazon gift card. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact info. And there is a new round of the giveaway this week too. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So we're getting a lot closer to season 6. We'll probably see an official season 6 trailer in the next month or so, towards the end of this month or in February sometime. So, don't hold your breath or anything, but it is coming really soon. So while you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here to learn all about the Winds of Winter delay. It's not the end of the world, it's just going to come a little bit later in the year. And you can click here for the Deadpool trailer I just posted. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.